So, I guess today we'll be recording in a different venue because there are people outside of my room and I didn't want to bother them. So I'm just recording in here. And so I haven't really planned out what I am going to talk about right now. So I didn't have that planned. And also, I am observing my surroundings because I am, a little bit afraid of, you know, afraid that people will see me doing what I am doing right now. So I think it's been on my mind for a while now, but you know, I think this word is something that a lot of people who spend their time on social media a lot, or people who are on the spotlight, people who are influencers, I guess, they use the word you know schizophrenic a lot. So that word is something that comes, you know, a lot towards other people. They describe themselves as schizophrenic. And, I do not blame them because I feel the same way. It really feels like, you know, this is something that, well, I don't think that I should talk about that stuff because I don't really know the life of people who have schizophrenia. But you know you spend a lot of time with and you talk to yourself a lot, and you really have to imagine things that aren't there. You need to start a conversation even though there aren't people around, just like what I'm doing right now. Feels like I am talking, in the air. So people, from a third person point of view, it may seem like I am just talking to my phone, but in my head, it is different. So in my head, I am picturing out the classroom and that I am giving a class. And I imagine that the people who are looking at this are, my students, even though I don't exactly see students anywhere. And that's the thing. If you do something like this, you really need to use your imagination a lot. It's sort of like putting placeholders, in your imagination. Well, I guess that is what they would call, what do you call this? The memory palace of some sort, because you have to imagine things that aren't there, and you have to imagine that, you know, you imagine where you are, you imagine a different scenery. So it might seem like this is the scenery that I am working with, but also in my mind, there is an alternate scenery that is just in the background. I try to make them overlap together. And so it would, just I see reality and I also see a different scenario, kind of like overlapping imagination and, reality. And so that is the kind of thing that, you know, I am dealing with in order to produce these videos. And well, my claim is that in order to go beyond reality, go beyond your reality, you need to you know sort of manipulate your reality through that memory palace that I was just talking about. And so eventually what you are imagining will eventually be your reality. So that is basically what it is that I am doing. So I have to create an imagination so realistic. It is grounded imagination, but it is grounded in reality, but and try to apply it, you know, in real life. So an example for that would be I have to imagine what kind of life, you know, do rich people have, and then I try to imagine that scenario and I try to live it. And with that activity, the theory is that you try to live in your imagination and then reality will soon come after. And so, yeah, I guess that that is really the gist of what I am trying. Although it is more complex than that because, you know, there's a lot of things going on. There's actually a framework for it, and you have to edit the framework. You have to design the framework in such a way that it works. And it's not just about you know imagining what a rich person would do, because that definition is limited by your understanding of what the word is. And so you really need to be creative with it, because your imagination isn't going to be enough. Because if you could have imagined it, then you would have already lived it, right? But that is not the case, which is why there really needs to be, you really need to hope for some sort of divine revelation. So this is another term that would be paradigm shifts or breakthroughs. And in my experience, breakthroughs come from just trying all sorts of stuff, experiencing all sorts of stuff. So, these breakthroughs, these paradigm shifts that I am talking about, these are things that just come naturally as you are doing something. So kind of like when you are practicing any sport or any art, you're just writing, and then as you are taking a break, as you are drinking water, you start to get that idea out of your head, and then it sort of fixes all your problem. And then you try out what you just thought, you draw, and then the results just are exponential. There's a difference between your previous results and then the results after you got that divine inspiration. So this is really what it is. And that is what I am trying to emulate here, or trying to bring out. And so we are hoping that as we continue on with these journeys, divine revelations or breakthroughs or paradigm shifts will come naturally. And of course, along with these paradigm shifts, divine revelations, are outputs. So it's not enough for you to have an amazing character, an amazing personality, and all these breakthroughs and divine revelations if you cannot create things. So the measure of you as a person depends on the things that you can create, the things that you can change in your environment. So it is important to have divine revelations and breakthroughs, and also apply them in real life. So even though I'm not perfect yet, or I'm not really that good, it is important that I use my current level to apply it like this. It is important that you apply all of what you know, even though it is not its best version yet. So, even though this is only the level where I am at now, I am still pursuing something, because that is an important thing. That is an important thing that you should understand. Okay. So, yeah, I guess that this video is long enough. So, and just in time. Bye.